Good. And again, here's our web page. I put into the chat window in case you need it. Let's see. You all can see the screen, right? The screen, Java program for beginners. Okay, good. Before we start new chapter, let's review the last lesson. In last lesson, we learned Java comments to comment out some lines. You can either use double forward slash or / to comment out one line, or you can use a pair /* and a / to comment out multiple lines. Okay. You can also use the double forward slash to comment out each line, and then have a multiple lines. You can do that as well. Either way, or you can use the / comment out a single line. But when you use this /*, you have to remember, use the closing part, the star and the slash. If you use just forward slash, then you just put it at the beginning. You don't need anything after that. So that's comment. And then we learned variables. We learn a few variables. We will learn more actually. There's variable to define the data types, string, int, float, char, boolean. And to declare a variable, you just use a type and then variable name. And at the same time, if you want to assign value, it's called a initialization. To assign an initial value to it, then you can just use the equal sign and then the value. Always use semicolon. So the semicolon is needed on every line except the comment line and also the curly braces. And we saw some examples. Okay, string, int, float, char. And then we learned Java method parameters. So when you define a method, your own method, and in the method you want to pass some value, and when you call the method, pass a value to it, and this is the syntax. And that's a single. This method is a single. Okay. And let's see. Let's review the questions. I hope you all look at the questions and try to answer them, right? So the first question, 2 forward slashes can be used to comment out a single line, true or false? I think that's true, yes. Oh, no, yes, that's true. And /* can only be used to comment out a multiple line, true or false? That's false. You can comment out a single, use that. This is a variable. Yeah, variable is a name of a certain type to store value. How to create a variable? Well, you just remember that syntax: type and then variable name, and optionally you can add the equal sign and a value. See, what are the variable types in Java? Well, there are many types, string, int, float, and so on. What type of variable should be used to store weight? Well, weight sounds like a float, right? You can't use the int. Well, you can, I'm 80 pound, I'm 100 pound, but if you want to have like a partial pound, then you need a float. What type of variable should be used to store string number? Normally string number is just integers, right? No decimal points. So I'm sure you want to use int. What type of variable should be used to store phone numbers? Well, phone numbers are integers, but sometimes you got the dash, got a parentheses, so it's safe to use a string to store phone numbers. What are Java method parameters? Oh, yeah, use the parameters to pass a value to your function, right? Sometimes they are called arguments. It's okay. You can call them either way. All right. The answer is listed here. And also the recording. So every lesson is recorded. So in case you need to review, or when you answer the quiz questions, you need play the lesson recording. You can do so. Just click that link. Watch it. Okay. Let's see. That's good. Any questions? Oh, good. Did anyone of you tried to install Java on your machine? Good. Have you tried to run Java from a command line? Remember the Java C and then the Java file name. Okay, and then run. Okay, if not, yeah, I recommend you to try it. Rune said it's somehow uninstalled. Is that are you using a PC or Mac? I use a Mac. Yeah, if you follow the Mac install, yeah, it should. Yeah, when you download Java, it probably is a newer version. It should take care of like getting rid of the older version and put the new version into place. It should be easier than the PC, because in PC you have to manually update the environmental variable or the path variable to include the new location of the newly installed Java. Good. Glad you all tried. That's good. But that shouldn't prevent you from trying Java programs or Java programs. Again, you can always use this the WS School. So to get that link, you can either just remember w3schools.com and then find a Java. Like here, you come here, you're looking for Java, learn Java, and you click, you see try it out, try it yourself, something like that. You can always just click that. It's always, when you try it out, it just, it's like main and then main method, the main class, and then something like that. But that's how you find it. Or you can come to our webpage, I think is right here, yeah, hello world. So it's the same thing, okay? Go back to that page, don't leave that page. Okay, let's move on to Lesson 3, data types. Variable, in variables, we learn something, the types. Variable names container to store data values, and we have different types. And here we have, I think this is more, this table lists more data types. And there are two major groups of data types. So one group is called primitive, and other one is non-primitive. Primitive is all the data types listed here, short int. Non-primitive, we will learn that later. It's mostly like class objects. So don't worry about that. Now, even actually string is special. String is primitive, but it's also, actually string is not listed as primitive. String is listed as non-primitive. That's interesting. Well, it is listed here. I don't know why it's not listed in the table. I didn't see it clearly. Yeah, it's not listed here. But anyway. Yeah, we already know int, float, Boolean, char, right? And actually there are more. Just similar to int, we have byte, short. So byte means a 1 byte. 1 byte is a very, very small number range. You can only, if you declare a variable type of byte, you can only have number from -1 to a to +1 to a. A byte, let me see, byte, just type here. Remember the eight numbers, zeros or ones, zeros or one. If you have eight of them, that's 1 byte. I think it's like either 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's number 0. Or you have, something like that. It's another number as 1. So that's number 1. And actually you use the first byte for the negative, positive. That's why, you pick one, use 1 to indicate positive or negative, and then 7 digits to get the numbers. That's why I only get that much. Let me go back to that page again. So that's 1 byte, okay? Sometimes it's like a mix, something like that. That's another byte, but different number. That byte. 2 bytes. It's a very different number, much larger. That 2 bytes means 2 times 8, so that's 16 bits. Okay. So for example, you put those 2 together, then that's 2 bytes. See that? And you can have much larger range. Get my calculator. I have a little calculator somewhere. So I can show you. I have a little command line text calculator. Let's see. I believe that 7. 2, 7. There we go. So you use the 7 each bit. It can be either 0 or 1. That's why for each bit you can have 2 numbers. And now we have 7 bits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. And the 8th is for the sign, minus, plus, plus, minus. So it's like a 2 to 7. So basically it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So that's that. That's equivalent to 2 to 7, right? And see that's a range from 1 to 8 to 1 to 7. If we have 2 bytes, is 16. Not a 16 because we need that's 15 because we have 2 bytes, you have 16 bits, and then you take 1 for the sign, then so you have 15 bits for the numbers. So that's 2 times 2, that 15 times. Then we have this number. See, 32768. So that range, right? And that's that range. And here you say, oh, why not 8 there? But actually remember 0. 0 is also a number. So 0 from 0 to 3276. So that's another 32768. So there's 2 of them. Okay. All right. And let's say, hey, I need. So if you have a number, smaller than that, or well within that range, you can declare that user short. Let me see. Yeah, I mean any number, yeah, within that range, greater than that, smaller than that, you can use a short. You may ask why do we care? Why don't we just use int or just use long? Well, the thing is, if you know your number is not big, like you know your age is no more than 200, then why use a big number? Because when you use a big type, you use more computer memory, okay? Yeah, for this one, for most people, if you use byte to say byte age equal to something 1 to 8, 1 to 7, that's enough. But well, some people may live older than that age, so then you want to use short, okay? Use that one. You can have a really large number, like you do the math, scientific research, you do need some large integer numbers, then you may use 4 bytes. 4 bytes means what? 4 times a, oops. So it's 32, and take a 1 out, so you have 31, and 2 to 31, or 2, 2 times 2 times 2, do that 31 times. Then you have that number. That's this number here. 2147483 right? That's that number. Okay. And the next one is a really, really large number. Say, oh, int is not big enough. I have a really huge number. Then you can have 8 bytes. 8 bytes means 8 times a. You have 64 bits. And again, you take 1 out, to use for the sign, minus or plus or negative or positive. You have 63. 2 times 2, 2 times 2. 263, and then you have this larger number, 9223, blah, 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 that number, okay? No more than that. I think that's a pretty large number. Let's see, next one. Yeah, that's long. Yeah, that's a big number range. Then the next one is if you need, store some values, numbers with decimal points, then you cannot use those 4 anymore. Those 4 all, for integers. And for float, you can use a 4 byte, store fraction number sufficient for 6 to 8 decimal digits. Yeah, like the pi, I forgot the pi. Blah blah blah. That's the pi value. You probably use a float. If you really want to have many decimals, then the float is not enough. You have to use 8 byte for double. So then you have to declare as double. Boolean, yeah, I think we look at a Boolean. Boolean just one bit is a 0 or 1, true or false. That means you have, just one bit. One bit, remember, just either 0 or 1. So that's very small number. The smallest, look at that, 2 bit. Even a single character use 2 bytes. I think if just for the English ABCD, that's called ASCII. 1 byte enough, for ABCD. But then we have the Unicode for many different languages. So then change to 2 byte. So nowadays the character actually require 2 bytes. That means 16 bits. Okay, let's look at some examples here. Let's say, oh, score. Okay, you take a test, and normally the score is like up to 100. So to store a score value, probably use a byte type of byte is enough, because for byte you have that range. Right? Well, if some teacher could say, okay, this test like the maximum is 150, then you cannot use byte. You have to use a short to declare a variable called score, right? Why don't we just add that into our program? So I test all of them up. We just paste here. World, fine. That's how you. Let me make it bigger, so you can see well, right? Well, I think that's too big. So that's how you declare a byte variable. The next one, that's wrong, so we can look at the next one. If you have a number from that range, let's say you travel somewhere multiple times, and you fly airplane, travel a lot. You say, okay, in this year I traveled this distance, like 30,000 miles. Then you can use a short value and store that number. And similar. Declare the variable and then print the value out. Print the variable out. Just use the short. There you go. Int. Oh, int is much bigger. So let's see. I don't know, the radius of the Earth or radius of the Sun is a big number. It's not actually 300,000. It's a different number. Just whatever. We just pretend it is that number. Okay, it's a big number, bigger than that. That's like a 30 thing. That's 30. Yeah, this is much bigger than that. So then we need an int. There, run it. As for int, oh, for long, yeah. Let's see, in reality, the solar radius is really, really big. Whatever, maybe a different unit, maybe it's a meter or inch, but it's a big number. Pretend. Then you need to use a long type. And for long is to differentiate from int and long, actually need a bigger L. You need an L at the end, okay? The L just indicate that, okay, by the way, this variable or this value is big, it's very, very big. It's just an indicator. It's not part of the value, okay? Let's try that. That's my code now here. Just copy there and run. And there's an error. Let's see what the error is. Error variable is already, see the variable is already defined. That means you cannot use the same name for different variable because they are different types, they are different variables. So the error is already used, so cannot use it again. Why don't we just use radius, I don't know, long or big, whatever you call it. Can we add a dash? No, no. Oh God, maybe not. Let me try. Yeah, you cannot. Semicolon express. So you cannot. Yeah, I forgot. You can't have this the dash that's a special character. You cannot use that in a variable name. So you can we use underscore? Probably not, right? Can we try that? Oh, okay, so underscore is okay. That's good to know. It's good to know. So dash not, but underscore is. Yeah, underscore is okay. But when we print out, oh, we didn't print. We print the same radius. That's why we got two same numbers. So big radius. Try it. There you go. See, when you print out, it dropped the L. It dropped the L. That means the L, so the L is not part of the value, so it's dropped. But can we do that? That's just optional or required. I guess it's required. Integer number too large. So if you don't put an L there, I thought it's integer, not a radius. So you do need an L. But then can we use the lowercase l? I guess the lowercase l is not recommended because it looks just like a 1, right? I typed L, but it looks like a 1. But let's see if Java catch that. Why it takes so long? I'm going to use our command. Do that here. Let's see. Okay, there. That. I don't know why that takes. Oh, wow. So the little L works, but it took a long time to compile or to run. It's really funny. But anyway, maybe next, maybe we can just save a file here. Let me get my editor here. So let's just save that as main Java. So we save that. And I'll come here. So we have this file. So if we run Java from the local computer instead of using website, I think it's a lot faster. So compile, that's half second. And then when you run it, you don't need a type. You need C. C is very fast, very fast. Next one. Oh, floating point, primitive numbers, float to store fraction numbers from fractional numbers from the E minus something and the E plus something. That's a very, very large number, and that's a very small number. And you should end the value with little f. Okay. Oh, back to here, the L, even though it's a lowercase, but it's still okay. You know, it's a uppercase L or lowercase L are okay. But you probably want to stick with uppercase L because lowercase is really, really confusing. It can be easily confused with number one. Okay, let's try a float number. Okay, let's try a float number. Okay, where's my editor? How about radius F? Radius EF, radius EF. Save it. Again, compile and run. Yeah, so this is a float. The little f is dropped, it's just an indicator. Oh, doubles. Oh my goodness, look at the doubles. See how double is so small. The 308, that means there's like there's 300, more than 300 zeros in front of one, like a 0.00000 and 300 times. And this is like, 1.7 and then 308 zeros after it. So it's a very, very big number. So it's like 17000 forever. And for double, you need a little d as an indicator, little d at the end, versus f for float. So let's see. Again, if we try that, copy, paste, d, double, and type of d, a bit different. Add one to it. Save it. Compile. Whoops. Cannot find symbol. Why? D, D, F, F. Save. Compile again. Now run. This one. Yeah, so this is the double. This is float. Yeah, this is double. This is the range. You can go that small or go that big, but in the meantime, the float and double, there's a big overlap because 308 to 308, cover from minus 38 to positive 38. So, but beyond that, you need that. But within that, you can use either. Okay. Oh, here, yeah, we're talking about that. User flow or double. Okay, the precision of floating point value indicate how many digits the value can have after the decimal point. The precision flow is only 6 or 7 decimal digits, while double have a precision about 15 digits. Therefore, it's safer to use double for most calculation. Okay. So if you want to have some precise calculations, so double is safer. Yeah, the E, that's a scientific notation. One E means 10. So E and then plus 2, that means 2 zeros after the number. If minus 2, that means 2 zeros before the decimal point. Oh yeah, right. Right. So here means if you have, those zeros, you can use just a E instead of type all the zeros out. So let's see what that means. So here, for example, we have a float. Then let's see, how do we do that? Let me see. Oh, I think with decimal digits, that's hard to do. Yeah, no, this is a different number. We cannot convert that. We cannot convert that because we need to keep the dot and decimal digits. That's only good when you have a number. This is like this is good for 35000. Yeah, even though it looks like integer, but it's you store in a float. For that one, yeah, and similarly for 12 4 zeros, right? So that's the using a scientific notation to skip zeros. Imagine if it's a 40, here you add a 0, that means you got like 40 zeros where it's really hard to type 40 zeros. But for 4, you can handle it. Anything under 20, maybe under 10 is easier, but more than that is hard. But anyway, let's print out. Yeah, so it looks like an integer, but actually is float or double. That's why when you print out, it'll automatically add a .0. Okay. Booleans, well, I think we learned Booleans. Boolean is either true or false. So yeah, let's put the Booleans here. So when you print out, yeah, it's not a string. So it's a true or false. That's a key special Java keywords. So you don't need a double quote. If you double quote, then it becomes string. So without double quote, single quote, true, false, that's special value. And when print out, it print out like a two text, but it doesn't mean it's a string. It's just true or false. This is special, okay? And for character, you can either use either one, not both. You can use, let's say, coming out. Remember we use coming out? So see, declare a character variable A, the bigger A. Oh, yeah, they don't have a match. That just, yeah. Yeah, you can call it a character one, whatever, right? So it doesn't have to be ABC. It's a variable name, so it can be anything. Don't be confused. So you can declare like a single quote, not double quote, a single quote, and then A or B or C, you print out. compile, wrong. See, A, B, C. Or you can use actually for each character, there's a decimal numbers. So 65 means A is uppercase A, 66 is lowercase. And there's a table, I think, called ASCII decimal value. So 66, yeah, 65, this is the decimal value, means A, 66 is B, 67 is C. So it's another way to do it. That means if we do that, yeah, use that, let's see. And we should get ABC also as well. Compile, oops. Got an error. That's because, yeah, we comment out of trial 1, so we only have A, so we have to change that back to A. Oh, by the way, I'm using an editor called Code. I think I mentioned called Microsoft Visual Studio Code. You can download. That's a free editor if you want. It's okay now, wrong. Yeah, you also get ABC. If you change, how about the next number? Yeah, you can do that. You can try 6A. Let's see what is 6A is. Must be D. Yeah, it's D. Yep. Oh, we are running out of time. String, we know string already. Let's move on to the next topic, actually. Java parameters. Remember in this example, this is a single parameter, right? The single value, single value, single parameter. You can actually have multiple. You can have multiple. Let's see. Remember in the single one, we put the last name inside the method. So at all the first name go in and then come back with first name and the same last name. But if you have a different last name, then you probably have another parameter called a last name. And then you can even have age. So you can have 3, not up to. You can have as many as you want. But in this case, anyone with a different first name, different last name, different age, you can have 3 parameters. And when you call it, then you have to provide 3 parameters in the same order. If you mix the order, then you will get the name out of order wrong. So first name match first name, last name match last name, and age match that. Okay. And yeah, let's try that. We can use, yeah, we're getting kind of lazy, but we can just use the same one. Of course, we don't need that one. Don't need that line. We don't need that line because we are inside already. Oh, we don't need that, but we do need move that out. Move to outside a main method. We put at the beginning. Let's see what happened. Save it. Compile. Oops, got an error. We got too many parentheses, I guess. Save again. Compile. Wrong. Yep, we got that out. Well, we can, you can always do that since that mess up the code. It's at this point probably is good idea to create a different file, right? Yeah, just this method, and we call the method, something like that. Save that, compile, and wrong. Just that. Okay. Okay, good. A return value. This method is void, means return nothing. See this, there's nothing. doesn't return anything. But what if you want to call a method and return something? And that's then instead of use a void, use the int. For example, you want to add two numbers together and you want to get the result back. Then you should use the int and use this keyword also return. That's required. And this is the calculation. Okay. So if we try that, we just replace the whole thing and save it. Screen, atomic code, and wrong. Right. So first time we call 3 plus 5 is 8, 12 plus 13, that's 25. So that's the return value. Remember, use int, use a return. And you can either just put the function call inside the print, or you can catch the result with a new variable. You say, okay, put the the return value, you call the function and save the value to result, and then print out the result. Okay. All right, great. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, some question to think, and I will put the recording, and then you will see the recording here. Now it's point to the lesson 2, but it will be lesson 3. All right, then. If you have any questions, you can stay. Otherwise, have a good weekend. I don't think we have class next Friday. So, all right. Bye-bye.